All right, all right. So you've identified something that I'm familiar with, but a lot of people in our community may not be familiar with, which is the idea and notion that many in world Jewry today, um, the consensus view is that Esau, represented by Rome, Europe in general, and even America, and I'm going to add the UK specifically. In light of that, I want to follow up with this question. We have a great heinous event that takes place in history that has come to be known as the transatlantic slave trade. Some of us prefer to refer to it as the transatlantic kidnapping slave trade. On that note, we were told in the Torah that Hashem, the creator, does nothing except that he reveal his secret to his servants, the prophet, first, which is to say and intimate that any major event in world history that occurs regarding Hashem's people would have been spoken through the mouth of his prophets. You and I have connected in our last conversation, as well as this conversation, the idea and notion that there may clearly be a connection between the African American diaspora, the Caribbean diaspora, and the historical biblical Israelites. We can see that connection through the Igbo, at least, and the various places that they were carried away into slavery, which includes America and the Caribbean. So then we have no doubt that there are African Americans and Afro Caribbeans in the diaspora who may literally be bloodline Israelites. On this notion, consider this and please answer this question as you fit. Since there are a measure and degree of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob here in America in the form of Black Americans and the Afro Caribbeans, why would you not consider and thought that there might be a prophecy in the Torah or Tanakh which may speak to that? That's my first question for you.
I think you would. I mean, I think you can find a lot of prophecies that talk about during the end of times and redemption, and how Hashem will take his people amongst, amongst the other nations. His people, he will pull them out amongst the nations and bring them back to Israel. I mean, you have, even the idea of when Jacob. When Jacob is giving a blessing to Ephraim and Manasseh, right? That they kind of are the prototypes of the Jews that will live, the Jews that will live in the diaspora and maybe maybe forget their way, and there'll be many of them, but even they will be redeemed as well during the end of times, right? So there's many prophecies, and I'm sure you could interpret, a person could interpret and see all the things. I mean, everyone's going to be redeemed. One of the challenges, and not, I haven't heard it with you, but with other groups that identify as Hebrew Israelites, is that they want to disconnect everything, right? And there's the truth that African Americans, we have a connection to 12 tribes. Which one of us, this, whatever, the ones who gravitate to the Torah. I mean, that's how we're going to understand it, right? The ones who want to be righteous, the ones who want to keep the Torah. But that does not cut out my Ashkenazi brothers. It doesn't cut out my Persian brothers, my Iraqi brothers, and my Asian brothers, and my African brothers, and all these other different types of people. We can't cut them down, because if we don't bring the collective together, as you said earlier, we can't create that symphony that's going to bring the Mashiach, right? And that's what we ultimately want. So I think there's tons of prophecies that would speak to this point, but the key is creating a unified collective amongst everybody.
I want to point something out to you. So when we first connected in our last conversation, we had something in common.